All right. Hello. Thanks for tuning in. Today I'm going to talk about fitness, and I'm not going to get into too much detail because um, I am not a fitness expert, so to speak. I mean, I help out my athletes. We dial in their fitness. I know a lot, but you know, you probably want to get acquainted with a Sean Drake or a Mark Kovacs or Alistair McCaw. Those are Dean Hollingworth. Those are the real experts. You really want to get some great knowledge from top fitness professionals. That's part of the talk here. All right. So I have trained a lot of very fit athletes, and fitness has been one of the things that's made my teams successful, playing at a high level. And that's why this talk is so important, because you can't hit the ball if you can't get to it. This is one of the major tenets of moving from tennis strategy 101, where I don't really even talk about fitness at all, because it's just the beginning of playing smart, right? So instantly, if you go from not playing smart to playing smart, then you're going to do a lot better. But now that you want to go and you want to progress up the levels from 3.0 to 4.0, then there's a certain level of sophistication that you need with fitness and health. But then if you want to go from 4.0 beyond to 4.5 and 5.0, then you're going to have to become a lot more fit. The demands are much greater because the athleticism of players, goes up dramatically from 4.0 to 4.5, and even more so from 4.5 to 5.0, right? Because the one thing I noticed moving from 4.5 to 5.0 level was that everybody was fit at the 5.0 level, and they were also a lot younger. So it's a different dynamic, and the higher you go, the younger and stronger everybody is. So, as you're getting older, it's even more important to pay attention to that fitness. So I realized that I was overweight. In fact, I just posted a video yesterday of me looking like Bullwinkle, and that was from 2.5 years ago when I was speaking in Alabama. So maybe it was 1.5 years ago. Anyway, so, in that time, I've slimmed down quite a bit because I'm getting ready to play more at a higher level against the top players at my club. All right, so we're going to break things down now. If you're a 3.0 and wanting to move up into the 4.0 range, then probably the first thing that you're going to need to do is go see your doctor. Go to your general practitioner. Go get a full physical. Get some blood work done, because and anybody, if you haven't had that done lately, it's a good time to do it, because what you want to do is get an early jump on anything that might be a little bit out of whack. So, for instance, a couple years ago when I was very sick, I went to the doctor, and the doctor discovered that I had high blood pressure. So she wanted to put me on high blood pressure medicine. And so I said, no, thank you. And I got really serious about losing weight. And I don't think I have high blood pressure anymore, but I also haven't gone back to the doctor in a while. All right. So go get a physical, get blood work, because you want to get kind of your baseline of where are you? What's your resting heart rate? What's your blood chemistry look like? Do you have high blood sugar, high blood pressure? Are you overweight? If so, by how much? And start there. Start it with a baseline of where are you? Because then you'll be able to track better what you're going to do. Go get yourself a $30 scale. These days, for about $30. Oh, I'm getting a text. Um, the, these days, for about $30, you can get a scale that will pretty accurately measure your weight, your body fat, your subcutaneous fat, your uh, your hydration, and then also give you a relative score based on your age versus your physical age versus your chronological age. So right now I am 2 years under, and in a couple of days when I get lose another pound or two, then I'm going to be 3 years under again, and this is to be solidly 3 years under, and then the goal will be to get to 4 years under on that. So and just so that I can have more longevity and play longer and happier and all that stuff. I'm not searching for the of youth, so to speak. That's not that's a little vain for me. But I do want to be around and be able to walk and have more fun and not be sick, all that stuff. So, as a losing a little bit of weight is probably what you need to do. So you need to start working on your fitness. You might have to start walking. You might want to jog. You might want to get on the bike. And keep in mind, you're also going to need to do some core quickness drills and some overall strength and conditioning. Work on your core. So those are some of the basic things. I mean, for tennis strategy 201, you just want to start getting a little bit more into fitness if you haven't been. And some people were very sedentary during the whole COVID thing. So if you're just getting out there, take it easy, measure things nicely, all right, and don't kill yourself. But now we're going to talk more about the tennis 301, tennis strategy 301 for the 4.0 and above. You definitely want to start getting your body fat. If you're a guy, and your body fat is over 15%, then you're carrying more than you need. And some might be actually shocked at how high their body fat is. And then for women, I can't really say. I'm not really certain on this, but I'm guessing if you're over 20%, then you probably should be working on slimming down some, because that weight moving side to side makes it harder for you to change directions, and excess body fat is not like usable. It's not muscle. It's not something that propels you. It makes you go the wrong way. So you want to be able to be as light and slim as you can be. Now, here's an interesting thing. There was one time I was running a tournament, and in the doubles was a former NFL offensive lineman. And I thought this was very interesting because I think it points to what are sort of the upper ranges of what you can do if you're that good of an athlete. So here's a guy, and he's, a little over 6 feet tall, but he's clearly 300 pounds, but also a well-trained athlete. So he's big, right? Now, the interesting thing is he played really good 4-5 doubles. Okay, so I didn't see this guy on a singles court, but he played very good 4-5 doubles because he knew how to use the fact that he was a larger human. He wasn't going to be doing spending a lot of time going sideways. So he came in and he kept the play in front of him, because he doesn't want to come in too fast and then have to go back really fast. But I was just marveling at how on balance this guy was. But, so somewhere in there, somewhere in the 4.5 to 5.0 maybe range, you can have people who were football players who were really big bones, big everything, big, 300 pounds. But then I think that's kind of an upward limit for that. The same is true if you're, exceedingly tall. If you're over 6'6", then mobility is going to be a problem. But, on a doubles court, that really comes in handy. On a singles court, not so much. So on the other hand, at a pro level, then that's different, because that supreme level of training is what those people are doing that makes that work. So they have to train themselves incredibly well. So now in tennis strategy 301, you definitely want to get a lot quicker with your footwork. So you want to do footwork drills, because I'm kind of work with you from the ground up, right? You're going to need greater flexibility. That was sort of my thing that I always had to work on, was my flexibility. I'm one of the more stiff people out there. My core quickness was really good, and my stamina was pretty darn good. I didn't lose matches because of a lack of so-called fitness and performance that way, but the flexibility was kind of a problem. But anyway, so I worked on that a lot. So the flexibility actually starts with your ankles and it goes to your knees. And so you really want to stretch out every major part of your body. I think sometimes people neglect their ankles, and that's sort of like the transmission between your whole body and where your feet meet the ground. So a little special emphasis on ankles. Hamstrings are very important, because there's this thing called hamstring syndrome, where it affects your knees and your back if your hamstrings are tight. So that's really important. And I, at the top of my game when I was playing pretty darn solid 5.0 level tennis, I did a lot of running. I would go run 5 miles for fun. And now, since then, I've kind of learned that you need actually more of the anaerobic training. So, being willing and ready to do, high intensity, short bouts of sprinting and jumping, those kinds of things, that's going to be really pay off a lot more than doing too much in the aerobic thing. And then getting in the weight room. If you're, in the last video that I did, I talked about periodizing. Pardon me. In the last video, I talked about periodizing. So then, the same thing is true in the gym. You can periodize your training. And so if you're heading into the late fall and you don't have any events coming up that are really that important, your playing season's pretty much over, then you can get into a 6 or 8 week powerlifting program and work on your absolute strength. And this is something that I did a couple different times in my life, where, I went and got myself 20 to 30% stronger overall. And then, as you're going into your season, then you shift the way that you start doing your weight training, so that you're getting more into muscular endurance rather than absolute power, right? And then you can do some resistive training and whatnot. One thing that I really love right now is the TRX, because in a few short minutes you can get a really good workout, and then also it gets you really connected to your core. So TRX is almost 100% functional training. So, the one thing about getting in the weight room and developing absolute strength, that's great, but it gives kind of a false sense of security if you think that just getting stronger is the solution. Because one thing I learned from Alistair McCaw and Mark Kovacs is that you want transverse mobility and stability. So you want stability, mobility, and stability crisscrossing your body. So from your left foot to your right hand, and from your right foot to your left hand, through your body. And because tennis is about rotating on these sort of diagonal axes. So the more that you can create a blend of mobility, which would be flexibility, and stability, which means that your joints are being supported by being trained properly, especially in your shoulders, and in your hips and in your ankles, because you need some stability in your ankle if you're going to be able to go here and there. And then a word of caution, because one thing, Cressy, Eric Cressy, I do believe is his name, and I think he might be the father of Maxime Cressy. I'm not sure of the connection there, but anyway, there's a great trainer, Eric Cressy, who cautions against using unstable surface training, because it slows you down. And I can attest to that, because after having had a couple of knee surgeries, I had to do some stability training on unstable surfaces. And then, oh man, it took forever for me to get my first step back. And I never knew why. So unstable surface training is great when you have to get stability back in a joint that has been traumatized. But it is not a great thing if you're trying to develop speed and explosion. It's actually an opposite effect. So in order to have more speed and explosion, you need more mobility, and you need more functional strength through that mobility. But when you use unstable surface training, then you're creating stability, and to the point where it compromises mobility. So these are some general principles, and this is where I would highly recommend that you get somebody who is a physical trainer and take a series of trainings with them, and make sure that they are up on tennis, because I've spoken to a lot of my players who have a trainer, and then the trainer has them doing exercises that are not necessarily really helpful for tennis. So I have to tell them, to go back and let your trainer know that here are a couple of things to keep in mind. And if they're worth their salt, they'll listen, because they'll understand that, right? So, like, here's a couple of things. Don Chu said that if you're in the gym and you only could do 3 exercises, the 3 exercises that you would want to do for tennis are squats, which you have to do safely. So you need somebody watching you to do squats. You need somebody who really knows what they're doing. And then clean and press. And I got into an argument with somebody not too long ago, and he was criticizing how clean and press is not a safe exercise or whatever. So let me emphasize once again that you need to have some supervision on this. But clean and press is amazing because it helps you to work on the coordination of the kinetic chain throughout your body. And then the other exercise would be lunges. And so you can lunge without any weight, but then you can also lunge with dumbbells or barbells or a medicine ball, and you can turn a lunge into, a turning body motion with lunge, and create a lot more functional strength there. So all 3 of those exercises have their variations that can work really well. And you can also do all of those with a TRX with your own body weight in a very safe way. So, in order to go up the levels, one of your main strategies is going to become to be more fit. And there's no way around that. So if you are not as fit as the other player, then you might find yourself being physically dominated by someone who is a superior athlete. And one thing that I have always said is all the strategy in the world will not help you if you're getting your butt kicked. So be an equal in terms of athlete, because without it, you're not going to be able to get to 4.5 and 5.0 and beyond. It's your athleticism overall is going to be helpful. And also, final word, for developing players, a wide variety of athletic, experiences will help you. I thought it was really interesting how they were talking about the quarterbacks of football teams who had made the playoffs and how many of them had played 2 or 3 different sports in high school. And that points to, how that overall athleticism helped them. And tennis is about as complex as playing quarterback. But, playing some soccer is great. Having other types of things that you do but obviously you want to stay away from catastrophic injury. But these different types of experiences, and then also playing in a team aspect, can really help you in your play and in your enjoyment of life. But I highly recommend that people play another sport, at least casually, as an off-season activity. And one thing you'll notice is many of the players on the Pro Tour, especially the men, will get together for a lively soccer match on a lawn whenever they possibly can. So anyway, thanks for watching, and go get on that fitness, and I'll see you in the next one.